Dan RadioStyle, I hope you're having a wonderful day out there. A lot of us look at the world and we try to make changes based off of what we're experiencing outside of ourselves. Now, one of the things that's kind of funny how that tends to play out with us is we try to actually change the thing that's outside of us, right? Maybe there's a person that you're interacting with. Maybe you've got a child that's using or maybe doing some behaviors. Maybe they're smoking and you don't want them to anymore. And so you're trying to manifest a change in them. You're trying to manifest some sort of alteration in their behavior so they'll stop doing this particular thing. One of the things many of us don't realize is that things happen to each and every one of us because of what's going on inside of each and every one of us. So this child that's maybe smoking or something like that, a lot of us might look at it and be like, well, that's horrible. It's unhealthy. And I want to put a stop to that. This is my child. I love them. But the problem is your child has their own experience of life. They have their own lessons to learn. They have their own trials and tribulations. They have their own things that they're here to do. Now, yes, is smoking bad? Absolutely. I smoked for 21 years. Was that a good practice that I did? No. Did a lot of good things happen because of smoking? No, I wouldn't say a lot of good things, but certainly a lot of things happened. I met a lot of great people. The way interactions worked, it actually worked out well. Smoking's kind of a social thing. So, there were some benefits that came from it. But my parents wanted me to quit for the 21 years that I was smoking every single day. And I'm sure they prayed and thought about it and everything under the sun. Ultimately, it took me to stop. Now, there's a link below, by the way, Easy Way to Stop Smoking, Alan Carr. It's the book I read, and highly, highly, highly recommend it. But only if you're ready to stop smoking. And secondly, don't buy it for somebody you know who's a smoker. Don't buy the book for them and think that you're doing them a favor. You're not. Trust me, if you're not a smoker, you don't understand what it's like to become a non-smoker. But the power of going through that changed my life. Made me aware of a strength that I had inside of me that I didn't know. So would one say that the bad thing that happened to me was solely bad and I shouldn't have ever have done it? I don't know. I disagree. I gained a lot from it. And through a lot of the bad things that happen in our lives, we gain knowledge. If you think about some of the biggest lessons that you've had in your life, they probably came at a cost, at a pain. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you showed up late a bunch of times because you couldn't get stuff straight in your world, so you ended up losing a job because of that. Maybe you lost a house because you couldn't get your finances under control. Maybe you had a bit of a gambling problem. Who knows, right? Any number of things can cause us to get out of balance in our lives. And so many of us look at this outer aspect and try to manifest that, try to fix that. I kind of liken it to, I'm trying to manifest a bowling ball, not a beach ball. I know a lot of you are like, what? No beach balls? A bowling ball. So let's say I try to manifest a bowling ball. I imagine it. I imagine having possession of it. And then magically, a few days later, a square cube shows up in my life. And I'm like, well, I've been trying to manifest a bowling ball. I guess that's it, though it's not really a bowling ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some tools and I'm going to start carving off the corners, and I'm basically going to round out that square so I can have my bowling ball, because that's what I was trying to manifest. Rather than going back inside and going, okay, so I got a cube. That's interesting. I'm still looking for a bowling ball. All right, let's go back and imagine the bowling ball. This cube's nice, might do something with it. Maybe I'll give it away to somebody. Not quite what I was after. I'm going to try again. Rather than looking at what's been manifested in our lives and then trying to alter it, let's look at what we're manifesting in our lives. And if we like it, let's keep doing what we're doing. And if we don't like what we're manifesting in our lives, let's take a step back. Let's look at what's going on inside of ourselves, inside our lives, inside our minds, inside our hearts. Let's look at what's going on inside of ourselves. That is where we'll understand why we're manifesting what we're manifesting. You can't change the outer from the inner. You change the outer by changing the inner. It kind of sounds weird the way I stated that, but what I mean is once something's manifested and it's in the outer world, trying to alter that is significantly more difficult than just working on the initial manifestation that created it. A lot of times we create things in our lives that are frustrating or upsetting for us because of a feeling we have inside, because of how we hold this view of the world or of this particular thing. Another example. Say I'm hanging out with my older brother. My older brother is a significantly larger guy than me. He's like 3 of me. So if you had the 2 of us standing together and someone walked up and said, "You 2 are fat," my response or my feeling about it will be significantly different than my brother's. We're both hearing the same thing. We're both experiencing the same words, the same experience in life. But because of the whole us pushed out, or because of what's going on inside of me, I project a different feeling or experience around what this person said or did. Now, a lot of people would look at it and go, well, that person that said that, it's their fault. They caused you to feel that way. No, that's absolutely not true. That person said the same thing to me and my brother. I didn't feel that way. It didn't cause anybody to do anything. They were an us pushed out moment. They said something that both me and my brother needed. Our script for the day said, need an actor that's going to walk up to us and say, "You're both fat." That's what we need. Universe, fill it in, because that's what happened. So obviously that's what we needed. Now, the experience again that I have will be very, very different than what my brother has. Now, rather than blaming the individual that said you're fat, he's just playing his part. He's just an actor in my play. I'm the one that created my play. I'm the one that wrote the script. So why did this particular actor walk up and tell me that? Rather than getting mad at the actor, I need to look at myself. I need to look at the playwright. I need to look at the individual who's creating the story. Why did I create this story? Why does it bother me? Why am I experiencing this? What can I change about the playwright or the play? What can I change in the script to have this not happen anymore? Or to have, and here's the better way to look at it, instead of not happening anymore, what would you like to happen? What would you like to experience? What would you like to have been your experience? Rather than that individual walking up and saying, you both are fat, maybe he could have walked up and said, "Dude, those are nice shirts you guys have on," or "That's a really cool watch you're wearing," or whatever. They could have said any number of other things that would have been far more positive, but for whatever reason, they said that thing that triggered me. That triggers my trigger. That's my trigger. They didn't do it. They didn't cause it. They just said something. They're just an actor in my play. I reacted to it. I gave it meaning. I took it out of context. So many of us are looking outside of ourselves to try to fix the world that's happening around us. No. Look at what's going on inside of yourself. If something's happening outside of yourself that bothers you, look at why. Does it really need to bother you? Is it really that big a deal that someone said you're fat? Who cares? Someone's got a weird opinion. No big deal. Drop it, let it go. Or is it really that big a deal that maybe this right now they're smoking? They're younger. It's horrible, but is that that's not going to kill them like a car crash might. It's going to kill them long term, and it's a horrible thing. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying it's okay. But is that the hill to die on, as they say? Sometimes, one, we got to choose the battles. But two, sometimes we've got to understand that just because something appears a certain way to us doesn't mean that's how it appears to everybody else. That is truly the concept of us pushed out. Projection. What I feel inside of me, I project out onto the world that's happening around me. And so if I feel insecure right now and I feel like, everyone's out to get me, and someone walks in front of me or takes my parking place right when I'm about to pull into it, and that's where I'm coming from, that everyone's out to get me, then I'm instantly going to get mad. I'm instantly going to get triggered. I'm instantly going to look at them as someone that tried to do this to me, that intentionally just took my parking place, even though it might be some 70-year-old dude that didn't even see me. But in my mind, because of where I'm at, I experienced it differently than what really happened. So again, I might try to change that. I might sit there and try to manifest him backing up out of that spot so I can pull in. And I'll sit there and I'll just imagine it, and I'll imagine it, and I'll imagine it. And then who knows, maybe like an hour later when he's done shopping, he'll finally walk back out to his car, back the car out, pull out, and then you'll finally be able to take that spot. Or Wasn't it really just a parking place you wanted to begin with? Wasn't that all you were trying to manifest was just a parking place? Then, yeah, once the dude took the spot, let's manifest a parking place. There must be another one somewhere. Let's find it. Obviously, that one wasn't for me. That one was for him. Maybe it's closer for his walk. Maybe it just worked out better. Maybe he needed to realize after he pulled in, oh crap, I just pulled in front of somebody. I need to pay more attention. Ooh, that could have been dangerous. Sometimes things happen to us so we can learn a lesson. And sometimes we have other friends that are co-creating with us that are kind enough to experience these situations with us so we can learn a lesson. It's not their fault. It's my fault. It's my fault I'm here experiencing a lesson. It's my fault that things manifested a little differently than I intended. Not a big deal. Go back to the manifesting drawing board. It's okay. Now, a lot of people are like, okay, well, I've got a son, I want them to stop doing things, or I've got a particular person, I want them to stop. You can't make somebody do something. You can suggest, you can sort of nudge, but ultimately, they're going to choose what they're going to choose. And if they're not at a place yet for smoking, for example, if they're not at that place yet where they're willing to do that or really willing to go through the bit of uncomfort that you're going to experience when you stop, if you're not ready for that, you could hand them the book all you want. They could even read it. If they're not ready, they're not stopping. And just because I view it the way I view it, I can't make it happen. Now, is someone doing something to you that you don't like? For example, maybe they're misbehaving. Maybe you've got a boss that's treating you funny. Maybe you've got a coworker that just constantly just rubbing you the wrong way. These are great places where there's something inside of us that's going. A lot of the times, if you look at what's going on, if you look at the person and just say, you know what, I'm not going to let this bother me anymore. It's not that big a deal. They keep bringing up this racist thing. I don't know why it gets me all fired up. Or they keep bringing up, the presidential election. I don't know why that gets me all fired up. Like, just relax. It's no big deal. Other people can have opinions, whatever, right? Like whatever you got to tell yourself to be fine with what's going on with this particular problem. The second you come to terms with it, they're not going to do it anymore. It will stop happening. They will no longer have those discussions with you. They might get transferred to a new department. Any number of things could happen the second that we change inside of ourselves. Then people outside of ourselves start to behave differently. Essentially, when you change the script, when you change the play, when you yourself, the playwright, changes the script, then the actors in your movie start to behave differently. When we don't like what we're seeing in the real world, when we don't like what we're manifesting, rather than trying to change the manifestation, rather than trying to make a round ball out of a square, remanifest the round ball. Leave the square, make artwork out of it, turn it into a stand, carve it into something if you want, but it's not the bowling ball. Try again. It's okay. You keep trying until you get better and better at this. This isn't one of those things where you're always going to nail it right out of the gate. It's one of those things, especially in relationships, where I imagined everything I wanted. Then I got in the relationship and it just didn't work out. They had different agendas. We were kind of focused in different areas of our life. Yeah, that happens. And sometimes if you aren't experienced enough in life, certainly, to know kind of all the different things that might matter to you, you might leave a couple things out. Like, I want somebody that likes to laugh. And maybe you got someone that's really serious all the time. And you just miss laughing. You miss a sense of humor. But you didn't ask for that when you were scripting out your perfect ideal mate. Rather than trying to say, okay, well, this person I just manifested with a very dry sense of humor, I'm going to manifest them to be funny. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're not funny. That's part of who they are. That is their wiring and makeup. That's why they're here. That's part of their co-creating. You're asking them to do something they can't do. Manifest the right situation rather than keep trying to fix. Well, I've got time invested in this. I get you. And breakups suck, and they're no fun. But at the same time, being in a happy, amazing relationship is one of the most amazing feelings you'll ever feel. Being in a horrible relationship, and I've been in both, being in a horrible relationship is one of the worst experiences you will ever have. I lived with someone for a period of time, and we were having a hard time. I literally was staying in the spare bedroom while she was dating other people. It was horrible. I couldn't make her change. I couldn't change my situation. I couldn't force that to happen. I had to learn and develop through it. I had to find out what's going on in this situation and evolve through it. And I did. And it made me a much stronger man. And again, that whole part of my life is what I think had the biggest impact on my spiritual path than anything. So would I have taken it back? No, I wouldn't. I would have gone through that horrible pain, that lowest of low in my life, that couple times where I was suicidal. I would literally go through that again because of what I gained from it. So many people could have looked at it and said, oh, I wish you didn't have to experience that. I wish you never would have had to experience that, Dan. Oh, that's so horrible. You could have had this beautiful, perfect life where nothing ever happens to you. That's not living. And one of the things that I think we're seeing with a lot of kids these days is they can't handle a little bit of stress in their lives. I think we've protected everybody so much and kept them from harm's way that the second that we finally take the bubble wrap off them and let them walk around in society, they almost instantly fall down and hurt themselves. Almost instantly. And they don't know how to react. They don't know how to behave. They don't know how to adjust. Why? Because they've never failed. They've never fallen down. They've never had to pick themselves back up. Because you know what? First place through 10th place all got the same freaking ribbon. So there's no learning when life sometimes presents you a lemon, and instead of saying, but I wanted an orange, and freaking out, make some lemonade, man. Make some lemonade. Because that's what happens. So many of us trying to fix it from the outside once it's already there. Don't. Fix it from the inside. The outside will then adjust to match what's going on your inside. If you don't like what you're seeing, fix what's going on inside. It's no one else's fault but your own. Even if someone's behaving a specific way, you're the playwright. This is your script. This is still 100% you. It is never them. The us pushed out concept is you projecting. It's you sending your script to people in advance and them walking up and reading it to you. And then us getting mad. You had them read the script. How can you get mad at them personally for doing exactly what you asked? You want to change the world? Change it from the inside. That's how it works. As within, so without. Dan, RadioStyle.